OnlyFans has backed down on their porn ban. So just to refresh your memory,
I'm actually upset because of the way the government, the
it's
banks
not
did
even
this.
the. Yeah, we'll get into it. I'm not happy about the way that they were trying to ban it, and we'll cover that. So you might remember that on the 20th of August, OnlyFans announced that they were going to ban sexually explicit material. They were going to continue to allow some posts containing nudity, but the company was going to outlaw any content containing sexually explicit conduct. And a spokesman said, in order to ensure long-term sustainability of the platform and continue to host an inclusive community of creators and fans, we must evolve our content guidelines. We'll share more details, but the point is, it was pretty obvious that it was coming from payment processors of some kind. And it turned out that shortly afterwards, the founder of OnlyFans, a Mr. Tim Stokely, I believe he's English, is based in England, said that the ban on explicit
Essex,
content...
I think, actually.
Essex, is it?
Yeah.
So not England anymore?
No, but it makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, all the Essex whores, so...
Calm down, Callum.
Yeah, you don't know about the joke of all the tan and all the rest of it?
Well, yeah,
the only way is Essex.
I'm aware of it.
There we go.
I try not to play into the stereotypes. But anyway, the ban
Stereotypes
on
come from truth.
The ban on explicit content was the fault of banks such as Metro Bank and JP Morgan Chase, which he claimed. So he told the Financial Times that the increasingly unfair actions of banks are to blame for the ban. Otherwise, he would absolutely support sex workers' continued use of the service. I mean, it's making him a billionaire. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah. I also the banks trying to step in there is really strange. Although, presumably, it's because of the BBC investigation.
Oh, do you mind not
Oh, sorry, I didn't know.
Spoiling everything that I'm going to go through.
We did speak about it on the podcast.
Yeah, sure, but someone watching this video might not watch the podcast. But anyway, he said that basically the UK's Metro Bank has been disrupting their service by shutting down their corporate account on short notice in 2019, and the Bank of New York flagged or rejected money associated with OnlyFans. That JP Morgan Chase is apparently particularly aggressive in closing accounts of sex workers. I had no idea. The ban then was necessary to safeguard their funds and subscriptions for increasingly unfair actions by banks and media companies, adding, "We had no choice." And you note there, banks and media companies. Well, this is, as you said, probably due to the BBC investigation that had come out shortly before. In May, the BBC News revealed that the site was failing to prevent under 18s from selling and appearing in explicit videos, obviously despite it being illegal for children to do so. At the time, OnlyFans said the attempts to use the site fraudulently were rare, but now leaked documents show accounts are not automatically shut down if they break the site's terms of service. And moderators have also told the BBC they have found prostitution services advertised, bestiality, and one moderator believed something he found was incest. Now, I just want to make it really clear. I really despise the banks having this kind of editorial control of what OnlyFans can have on their platform. I don't think that OnlyFans is a reputable platform. I don't think that selling this kind of emotional prostitution is a valid way of making money. I think it's overt exploitation of sad and lonely men who have nothing better going on in their lives. And so I think that the people who do it are morally reprehensible, but that's how the thing should be dealt with. Me making a moral criticism of the people using it, and of course saying, simps, stop being simps, you're disgusting, and then them hopefully understanding the moral argument or getting to the end of their active life cycle, shall we say, in the industry, and becoming an example for others.
Yeah, as liberals do, convince, not coerce.
Yes, that's
but
exactly
also the idea that you think they're morally reprehensible. Wonderful. Lots of people think rightists are morally reprehensible.
Yeah, I'm perfectly free to say that, and they're perfectly free to say, well, I don't care. I'm perfectly free to then point out the consequences of these actions, which are inevitably going to come. But the point is, I don't want the banks coercing platforms, content creators, or anything like that. That's not their place. And I really do think we should consider some kind of actual legislation that prevents this kind of moral interference in these things.
Yeah, but I can see a charitable interpretation there. So we were initially confused as to who was going to get the credit here. Was it going to be BBC or was it going to be the banks? Because they didn't make a clear case. But now I think we do with that statement you read out. The BBC made allegations of there being child porn or such thing on OnlyFans, and this has kicked off the banks to be like, oh, whoa, this is illegal activity.
Yeah.
We want nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
That's probably what took place here.
Probably.
Because I saw leftists being like, yeah, the far-right banks who are trying to crack down. I'm like...
yes, the far-right banks who have their pride flags up.
Yeah, what universe?
Pride Week, yes.
Deplatform Trump, also far-right.
all donate to Black Lives Matter because they're so far-right. But anyway, like I said, I don't think this should be the case. Of course, the BBC may have had a good point that there may well have been child porn on OnlyFans. I don't use the site, so I don't know. And if there was, then fair enough. But it all just seems rather like knee-jerky and arm-twisty for OnlyFans. I mean, don't get me wrong. If they're doing something wrong, then they should correct.
Yeah, that's a criminal matter. They have to take the appropriate actions, or they will get the fines and jail time they deserve.
Exactly, and of course, they could doubtless have been given a leave of absence to increase the moderation tools or something like this. It just seems that they leapt to we'll deplatform you very, very quickly, which I'm very much against. But anyway, this was a kick in the teeth, as the BBC described it, for the prostitutes on OnlyFans.
As you described them.
As I described them, yes, because they are emotional prostitutes. Parasites, if you will, on the poor... incel community.
You have any more insults?
I've got loads of insults. I don't respect what they're doing at all. I don't respect it. Anyway, Tezza Williams, 22, from Birmingham, started making explicit OnlyFans content with his boyfriend in the summer to repay financial debts he'd racked up. So he'd been irresponsible, and now he's going to just turn to online prostitution to pay back the money he'd been irresponsible with. So compounding one act of irresponsibility with another. Brilliant.
Also, I hate the idea that, he's got debt, so he has to do it. It's like, could just get a job.
Yeah. No, I'm sure that in previous eras this would have been, women turning tricks on the streets, right?
Yeah. Well, I should say he could get a different job.
Well, yes. Anyway, he obviously says this is going to be really difficult for me. There's a massive stigma on sex workers that should just not be a thing. We're doing it from the comfort of our own bedrooms. It's given us a living. Could be getting people off drugs off the streets. Well, what if OnlyFans itself is the drug? That's the problem. If these very lonely men are hyper addicted to social media, and OnlyFans being a form of social media seems to fit the bill, then what makes you think you're not a purveyor of drugs as well? But anyway, The Independent put out a nice article. I love this. OnlyFans whores deserve respect. Respect them, Callum. OnlyFans sex workers like me deserve respect, not appropriation and exploitation. It is not only income we lose from OnlyFans changing policy, but the security that kept our content and body safe. The author is writing under a pseudonym.
Big shock.
I can't respect you if I don't know who you are. You're going to have to use your real name when you're demanding respect if you want me to respect you. Or is it that you know that the thing you're doing is not respectable and that's why you used a pseudonym?
Have you told your parents?
Exactly.
How do they respect it?
Not a respectable thing. But anyway, as people have become aware of, OnlyFans has backtracked on this in the past day or so. So they've performed a U-turn on its shock decision to ban sexually explicit content from the site. Plans for the ban, originally scheduled for October after the company came under scrutiny, will now be suspended following a widespread backlash. So who knows what the reason for this is? Whether the banks are like, oh god, loads of people are angry that they can't send money to their favorite prostitutes.
Maybe the boomers at the banks started reading what OnlyFans was. That's probably it.
Maybe. But they posted on Twitter saying, thank you for everyone making your voices heard. We have secured assurances necessary to support our diverse creator community and have suspended the planned October the 1st policy change. OnlyFans stands for inclusion. So not only are they genuflecting towards woke politics, they must have honestly just done whatever the banks had asked for. Just agreed to any requirements. You need to have this many moderators, this many things.
Content needs to be gone in this time frame.
Yeah, exactly. But on the plus side for them, at least they could do something. It could have been worse. They could have just been like, no, shut up, get out.
Yeah, as they do to most right wingers who they deplatform. Yeah. There's no recourse of let's have a debate about this. Or what can I do to keep my bank account?
Yeah.
No, you can have cash now. That's what you can do.
Exactly. Same with Parler and Google and Apple services. When they were pulled, it's like, no, we just don't care about your opinions. It's too bad. Parler did actually get back on the Apple Store, but it's still not on Google, so I can't use it because I don't use Apple, because Apple's an evil company.
So is Google.
Yes, it is. But Google, unfortunately, is the giant octopus that controls the internet. I can get away with using the internet without using Apple, but what are you going to do about Google? Anyway, so there we go. Unfortunately, OnlyFans is not going to die quite yet. But if it helps, there's some moral instruction you can have, which is don't become a prostitute, even though it's easy money. It's not good for you.
Thank you for watching this clip from the podcast The Lotus Eaters. If you want more from us, please please go over to lotuseaters.com and subscribe to get access to all the premium content that we have on the site.
Yeah, we've got loads of really good stuff there. So we've been doing this for quite some time. So we've got a huge library of content in various different categories. Now, some of my favorites have been the book clubs. I'm personally a big fan of these because it means we get to read good books and important books, extract the useful information out of them, such as with this Roger Scruton's Where We Are, which is a very interesting conservative take on the current culture wars and the state of Britain at the moment. So we go through and explore the meaningful concepts. And here's one that you and Bo did with Frank Dicotta's Mao's Great Famine. It's absolutely brilliant and harrowing to read. And so when all the comments on this happened to be, well, this was vile, we knew we'd done a good job with it. And we also have many other premium series like the Contemplations, where Hugo and Josh just go through and find something very interesting to talk about, such as this one talks about the idea of political representation and does it work, or is it a bit of a myth? And of course, we have the history content, which probably my personal favourite. In this particular one, myself and Bo talked about the achievements of Frankish warlord Charles Martel. Do you know what he's famous for, Callum?
Stopping the Muslims at Tours.
That's right. And we also do a bunch of premium videos and interviews and things like this. So in this one, we happen to have an interview with Michael Malice, who's a very, very charming guest, and I very much enjoyed this one. And we also do a bunch of premium podcasts about stuff that perhaps isn't appropriate for YouTube or various other platforms like that because of, some things outside of their editorial bounds.
So if you'd like to get access to all that premium content, please go over to lotuseaters.com and subscribe for as low as £5 a month. Thank you.